All right, let's get into it. Today, we are talking about something that's got the whole tech world buzzing: Apple's latest software update, iOS 26.4. But we're not just going to read you the release notes. Nah, we're going straight to the real experts, the actual users, to figure out if this update is a game changer or just a massive headache. And we're kicking things off with a comment that honestly just says it all. This was a super popular take on Reddit, and it really hits the nail on the head. It perfectly frames the big conflict with this update: shiny new features versus the basic need for a phone that just works. Okay, but it's not all doom and gloom. To really get the full picture, we've got to look at what Apple actually put into iOS 26.4. What are the new features that people are genuinely getting excited about? So what are the highlights? Well, you've got 8 new emojis, which is always fun. There's a customizable snooze time for your alarms, a feature people have been asking for forever. And then there's a smaller but really nice touch. The home bar at the bottom of the screen now fades away. So yeah, there are definitely some bright spots. But here's the thing. It's those emojis that have kind of become the center of this whole debate. I know, it sounds simple, but for a lot of people, they represent this bigger question about where Apple is putting its energy. And you can see that divide perfectly right here. On one side, saying, nobody asked for this, fix the real problems. But on the other side, makes a great point. For millions of people out there, new emojis are a huge deal. They're both right, in their own way, and that's what makes this so interesting. All right, let's flip the coin and talk about the other side of this update: the headaches. Because for a lot of users, all those cool new features are being completely buried under a wave of bugs, glitches, and performance problems. The number one complaint, the one you see over and over and over again, is UI stuttering. We're talking about a general lag throughout the whole system that makes these super expensive, powerful phones feel kind of slow and cheap. And just listen to how this user describes it. It's that feeling of unresponsiveness, like the phone didn't even register your touch. That's not just annoying, it's a fundamental problem that breaks the whole experience. Next up, an old enemy for a lot of us: the iOS keyboard. Even though some people said it got a little better, for many others, it's still a mess of lag and bugs when you're just trying to type out a message. And you can just feel the exhaustion in this comment. They're talking about a visual bug that's been around for ages, and they're basically saying, if they haven't fixed it by now, are they ever going to? It really speaks to this wider frustration with these nagging issues that never seem to go away. And if that wasn't enough, a totally new problem has popped up with this update. People are seeing this weird flickering effect tied to Apple's new liquid glass design. That glossy, see-through look on things like notifications. It's just another visual glitch making the experience feel unstable. And believe me, the list just keeps going. We've got iMessage not activating, the markup tools still being broken, Apple Maps freezing up. Some people are even complaining about new UI borders that they find really aggressive. So yeah, the point is, it's not just one or two things, it's a lot. But this is where the story gets really cool, because the community hasn't just been complaining. No, they've been digging in, experimenting, and actually finding ways to fix some of these problems themselves. Let's look at the workarounds they've found. So remember that liquid glass effect we were just talking about? The flickering, the bright flashes? Well, a few clever users got so fed up with it that they figured out a way to basically turn it down. And here's the trick. You have to dive deep into your accessibility settings. If you turn on increase contrast and show borders, and then play around with the reduce bright effects setting, it can apparently make a huge difference in calming down those distracting visuals. I had to include this quote because it's just perfect. This user found the fix and, well, they didn't mince words. It's funny for sure, but it also shows you just how frustrated people were and how much better this little hack made their experience. But for some people, changing a few settings just isn't going to cut it. When the bugs are really bad, users like Astronaut Otherwise 22 are taking the nuclear option. They're going through the hassle of downgrading their phone all the way back to the last version of iOS. So, all of this brings us to the big question, right? We've seen the good, the bad, and the really buggy. What's the final call? Should you update, try to tweak the settings, or just stay away entirely? Let's just lay it all out, side by side. In the pros column, you've got some genuinely nice little additions: emojis, the snooze button, a cleaner home bar. But that cons column, it's heavy. We're talking major performance problems that get in the way of just using your phone day to day.
And so we end up right back where we started, with the one question that this update forces every iPhone owner to ask: what do you value more? Brand new features or the rock-solid stability that Apple used to be famous for? As we've seen from the community, there's no easy answer. So what's your call?